Welcome to Tuesday, May through Monday. All right, this is my stream of my workout for the year, doing the body transformation. The thing that sets my body transformation apart from others is that I'm not using any sort of supplements. So there's no protein shakes, no protein powder, no BCAAs, no pre-workouts. Just trying to get all of my nutrients from the food that I eat. I'm not opposed to supplements. I think they work great. I think if you want to use them, awesome. I just don't know if it's absolutely necessary at this point for me to take a bunch of supplements to hit my goals. So, kind of seeing what I can do without it for a year. Um, a secondary reason is that supplements aren't cheap. One of my kids started preschool, which is expensive. So, cutting out supplements saves me at least $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. And every little bit helps. So, that's it. Today, going to be working on shoulders. So, we're going to start out with a lateral raise. Just one second, let me get this shoulders. Let's start working. I missed yesterday morning's workout. For some reason, I did not wake up in time. My alarm didn't wake me up yesterday. Or it did and I shut it off. I don't know. But I was able to get it done eventually in the middle of the day. Here we go, back at it. Going to the I go to the beach today. Excited about that. I'm going to try to get my kids on the boogie board. They didn't seem too stoked on it this last trip that we took, but I'm hoping this time will be better. I think it's hard because the water's um, still super cold. So getting fully submerged in the water is not fun for them. I've been talking to my older kid about sharks at the beach. I'm hoping that they don't end up getting scared of the water. Their mom is scared of the water, but I really don't want them to be scared of the water. So try to have an open conversation about sharks and just the likelihood of attack, and that because where we go, it's so shallow and they stay in the shallow water that there's almost no chance that they're going to be attacked or bit, and try to make it as like clear as possible that they're not in real danger of that. I feel like if you're honest and upfront with them, that might be the best bet to helping them with fear versus lying, being like, oh no, it's never gonna happen or something. Just being honest about it. I think sometimes the lack of transparency causes more anxiety. I think they can tell that you're not being truthful with them. So then they're like, wow, why is mom and dad lying about sharks? Are sharks really a big problem? Try to be transparent with my kids as much as possible. I think like sometimes like the lies or omissions of truth or allowing people to paint like a rosier picture of reality than is accurate can be really disheartening when you're growing up. Like it is a it is hard when you find out like the pilgrims weren't always nice to the Indians and that the Indians weren't always nice to each other. Like the reality by the Indians, Native Americans, but like the reality is like there were problems and things weren't perfect and far from perfect. So I think making sure that you just don't paint just a rosy picture of everything. Just don't want like the their high school history teacher or social studies teacher or college professor be the one that like pulls the wool off their eyes and like, no, look, all these things you always heard were great were horrible. I know when I got to college, there were some details about our American history that, when you learn them, were disappointing. And the biggest one was just you're sitting in history class and they're telling you all these things about how we did bad things and like some of them sound like conspiracy theories or opinion. And I was able to like brush off a lot of it until we got to the Gulf of Tonkin. And when we got to the Gulf of Tonkin, and my teacher said that we lied, but the president lied to us to get us into Vietnam. I was like, oh, no way. Like, you finally, in my mind, I remember thinking, like, oh, you finally did it. Like, you went so far out that you made up this story. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to read about this. And then I'm going to come back and be able to tell you that you're full of crap. You don't know what you're talking about. So I went home and I like did all my research. And I just remember just sitting there being like, damn it. Like, she's right. President of the United States lied to the American people to get us into Vietnam. And it's not like some conspiracy. It's very black and white. This is what happened. And that was pretty crushing. Talking about doing the 15 reps with the 20 pounds, 9.07 kilograms. Doesn't seem like it's getting easier. What's up, Kobo, man? How's it going? I'm good. I'm good. Just cruising along. Working on shoulders today. How are you doing? Doing the lateral raise with the 20 pounds, 9.07 kilograms. Everything's well good. That's good. So it says, I also train like you, man. I'll take an example on you. Oh, thanks, man. That's what we're trying to do. So that was the fourth set of 15. That put me it's two more than I was able to do last week. So that's good. Just go for those small increases every time. Try and make it a little bit better over time. We're gonna move down to the 15 pounds now. 6.8 kilograms for 3 sets of 15. Or try 3 sets of 15. Always look for those small increases, man, when you can. And they just add up over time. What sort of exercises are you doing? Do you do like the dumbbells, or what do you do? Koba says, only dumbbells. Yeah, I'll start today. So I have nothing much. Hey, I mean, like that's the kind of the thing that I do is just dumbbells. Like if you watch, all of the exercises I do are involving dumbbells. And the nice thing is it's easy to get a set of dumbbells or adjustable dumbbells. It's not as expensive as buying a whole weight set. And the nice part is once you have the dumbbells, you kind of eliminate the ability to give yourself excuses. It's if you're going to a gym, it's easy to be like, oh, I can't like make it today. But if those dumbbells are right in your house, it's harder to use that excuse. And I think like the nice thing is once you start, just a little bit of time, you're gonna see improvement. And if you just keep going, give yourself a reasonable workout. Like if you can do 30 minutes, great. Even if you can do just 10 minutes, like if you are lifting for 10 minutes, you'll start to see improvement, and then maybe you'll be encouraged to do longer and longer times. But it's the perk of doing stuff with dumbbells. And then if you want, then you can always go and get barbell and move on from there. And that's the nice side about if you have like adjustable dumbbells. Like I like having the fixed dumbbells that it's easy for me to go grab them and not having to switch things around a lot. But when I want to use a barbell, I have all the weights, all the plates ready to go. So I don't have to go out and buy a whole lot more equipment. And the nice side is that like I'll have these weights forever. So when I'm older, I'll still be able to keep track and still be able to do what I'm doing today. And it won't be like, oh man, I don't have access to a gym. You know, I really want to be still lifting iron and pushing weights through my 80s. And if I have everything that I need to do that and stay in shape, then I'm just not going to have any excuses. My car can break down, and oh man, I can't get to the gym. And it's those like small times where you can't like get to the gym that like add up. Coleman says yes. I mean, I have 20 RN kilograms. I guess I'll buy some new stuff, but no clue about what I should buy. So like this is my original set that I had. I mean the plates are newer, but I got this off of Amazon like years ago. Um, and it's just an adjustable dumbbells. That's where I would start. It's just go online, or if you're not online or not access, just find a place where you can buy some adjustable weights. I don't know where you are in the world or what access you have to things. The ones that crack me up just for their um just their kind of just drive, or if you go online, like on YouTube, there is like countless guys in India that make their own weights. You'll see them like they have. Oh, well, you're in France, so yeah. These guys in India, I watched them like they fill up buckets with cement and rocks, and then they have a stick for their bar. It's like, all right, well, go get it, man. They're all about it. Yeah, they make the opportunity. Kobo says they make the opportunity. Yeah, that's crazy. Um, yeah, they. I mean, when I first started seeing these videos, I was like, damn, like, India, like, what are you gearing up for? Like, you have so many people trying to get jacked right now, and they're not like, here in the US, like you'll see like a lot of influence videos or people lifting weights, and they're in Planet Fitness. Well, like Planet Fitness is a $10 a month gym. It's pretty cheap to get in there, and so you just watch it, and you're like, oh, like you guys are not spending a lot of money and working out, and you have access to all these weights. But then you see these guys in India that are making their own weights, and you're like, are you getting ready to fight someone? And thankfully, they're not on our border. But if I were Pakistan or China, I'd be a little bit worried about all these guys getting jacked in India. And it's not just the men. Like there's like all these moms making exercise videos in India. And the in a global conflict, the things that people like India and China have over the US is they know how to survive with less. I think Americans, if something bad happens, that's going to be the hard part for a lot of people, is they don't know how to survive on like nothing. Koba says India is something else. They don't really have the luck that we have, but they still try to figure out how they can have the opportunity. Yeah. Having that opportunity is hard because they still have, even though the caste system is officially abolished, it still can play a role there. And if that doesn't play a role there, it was interesting is I didn't realize that in the U.S. Um, there was discrimination based off the caste system among people that were from India. They and I, it didn't occur to me that that would be an issue until like a few years ago. I looked it up and I was like, oh wow, like this is something that they have to deal with here as well. And to the extent that in California they try to pass a law to say, hey, you can't discriminate based off of caste. Um, and the only reason it didn't pass is the governor and other politicians said that, hey, we already have laws that protect against that. You don't need another law to say that you can't discriminate by caste. And then they argued that the big people that were crushing it were people that were actually from the upper echelon of the caste system. Tell you though, India puts out some epic movies to watch. I first like started seeing Indian movies when I lived or Indian movies when I lived in China, and they're just everywhere. But there's some pretty epic tells they've got. Koba says I'm having trouble with my Wi-Fi. What's funny in the U.S. we tell we have stories. Sorry, in the U.S. we have a popular perception, yeah, that Indians can be like soft, um, and they're peaceful and they're very soft people, and they're just peace loving. They're not aggressive, and we just don't know like their history, and we don't know you know how much bloodshed there has been and how tough they are. And so people will think like, oh, like you'll see it all the time. Like they'll be in stores where someone Indian is working and they'll be disrespectful. And it's like, man, you have no idea how nice that guy is being, and you think that he's being nice because he's from like a soft people group, but he's not. That guy is from people have been fighting forever, and maybe you should be thankful that he's being so nice to you. It couldn't be otherwise. Copa says true. Thankfully, yeah. I'm following you. I'm doing the same stuff like you do. Oh man. All right. Well, this is the 40 pounds, 18.14 kilogram dumbbells. The goal for me is to do three sets of 15. So I have 2 more sets. The 15 reps, man, make the difference. I was doing the 50 pounds for sets of 10, and I think I was up to like 4 sets of 10 with the 50 pounds, but just dropping down to 40 pounds, I'm having a hard time managing 3 sets of 15. You do, Copa, do you do any sort of like walking or running or bicycling or any sort of cardio? All right, well, that brought me, that was only 13. It's a little disappointing, but that happens. Copa says, I was doing it, but not anymore. After when I moved somewhere else, I could find the time to do something else. And you? Yeah, I try to get out and run. Ideally, I like to run at least 3 times a week. And either do like a 3-mile run or run as much as I can in 30 minutes, which, usually with a 30-minute run, it's about 3 miles as well. But I like to alternate. And when I run like a 3-mile distance, where it's not time, if I'm running around my neighborhood, I do a timed run. When I'm running for distance, I'm usually out on a trail, and so I'm, it's out and around the lake and back. So then I'm just trying to push that 3 miles as fast as I can get it done. It's a nice variant because my neighborhood's flat, so running 3 miles flat and then or running for 30 minutes flat versus the other trail, it's uphill and downhill. And so how long did it take? Let's see. My last 3-mile run out there, I think was like 27 minutes, 46 seconds. And again, that's, uphill, downhill. And I'm also pushing a stroller when I do that run. So that adds to it. It's the part about being a dad is if you're running outside, you gotta push those kids. That's not where I want to be. So that was just 10. All right. I'm going to go down to 35 pounds now. Yeah, I'd like to get my run times down more. I like doing cardio. Some people aren't like when you're trying to build up muscle, they'll tell you not to do it as much. But you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you need to run. And I think not being able to run is not a smart decision. And given the state of the world affairs, I think being able to run for some distances will save you some problems. After the sport, you're eating something specific or not at all? You can work out. When I'm done working out, I don't follow a super strict diet plan, and the main reason is that like when I feed my kids what kids will eat, and I make them good meals, but there'll be like carbs in the meal that I wouldn't eat otherwise. But then if they don't finish their plates, I have such a hard time letting food go to waste. So I try to make healthy meals for all of us, but when I make something that's not like if I make something that's got pasta in it, it's very hard for me to be like, well, I'm just gonna waste all this pasta because my kids won't finish their plate. So I end up eating pasta and stuff when that's probably not the best option for me. So I try to compensate with not having a strict diet, with trying to work out, run, and I try to keep my diet to around 2,000 calories a day, and then on the weekends it'll be more. But with working out, there really isn't any reason for me to put on weight. I am going to be getting a little bit more strict in the following months on it. I saw people throwing out the rest of food in the trash can. Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. I think if you've never been poor, it's easy to do. But I think wasting food is a big deal for me from having been poor when we were kids, and food waste wasn't an option. So wasting food just makes me very irritated. And I hate when my kids won't eat. Koba says same. I put in the fridge and eat later. Yeah. Yeah, that kids not eating was like, it sounds silly, but it was like the hardest part of parenting for me. Like, just to relax when they don't eat. Because it just stresses me out. And I get like, oh man, you gotta eat, you gotta eat. It's like, no, they'll eat when they're hungry. But it's so hard for me. And I've gotten better at it. But man, it gets frustrating. I just hate when they like complain about being hungry or they're trying to get snacks out of you or something. So you tell them no, 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 and then you make them dinner and it's a good dinner and you want them to eat the good dinner and the healthy dinner, and they'll take some bites and then they'll sit there for 30 minutes not eating, and then eventually they're fine, get up, and then 10 minutes after they'll start asking you for a snack, and you tell them no, you're not getting a snack. You had a chance to eat dinner, you're not getting any snacks, and then they're hungry, and then you try to put them down for bed and they're still hungry because they didn't eat their dinner. And then I try to give them like fruit and stuff for snack then, so that they're eating something that at least is good for them before bed. Coppola laughs and says, I mean, food is important. Makes sense. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. It's just so frustrating. And the hard part is that you can't just walk away and leave them at the table, because if you do, they can eat or they can choke. So you have to spend like 30 minutes and sometimes longer waiting for them to eat. And your like frustration just builds and builds and builds, and you have to learn how to dissipate that so that you don't lose your mind. But oh my goodness, that is the most exhausting part of my day sometimes, is waiting for kids to eat and not be like irritated. I cannot wait till they're old enough to not worry about choking. I bet you can't wait to see them growing up. Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, you want to see them grow up, but you're gonna miss them being young. But I think it's okay. I think a big thing for me is making sure that I have good, positive relationships with my kids, and that when we're older, we've had such a good relationship that they still want to be around or talk to me when they're like older. Like, a lot of times people will raise their kids and not spend time with them or get to know them, and then they'll be shocked when they're older and don't want to hang out with them. And it's like, well, you like didn't make a very good case for hanging out with you. You were always focused on work, or you were, not nice or pleasant to be around. So of course they don't want to be around you as adults. Koba says, do you think you'll miss these good moments later? Absolutely. I mean, there's things that I miss already. Like, I miss them being babies and being able to hold them. But I think the older they get, there's so much more to appreciate about them. Like seeing their personalities develop, seeing them learn, and watching them become people is a lot of fun. You know, I love it. It's cool to see them grow. The fun part is when you see their personalities, you can go back and look at pictures and videos and see that that was their personality the whole time. Just didn't realize what was part of them. Well, I gotta eat, man. Good luck to you. You too, man. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Always here. Hope you have a good day. Bye bye. Koba says bye bye. See you, man. All right. So we're gonna move to the 30s. This has definitely not been like with the 40s was not where I wanted to be, but this week doing that drop down to 35 instead of dropping straight down to 30, I feel better about. I think dropping down from 30 or from 40 to 30 last week was too big of a drop. So trying to stick to like the 5 pound drops. Oh man. Okay. I'm getting frustrated. That's okay. Just gotta I keep moving. It will get better. Maybe the hard part is you just for me like I always and looking for those small increases, man. When I don't hit them, or in today's case, like not doing even as good as the previous week, I start to get frustrated. So, and there's a good amount of frustration, and there's a good way to use it to be motivated, and but I do think that you gotta not cross over into letting that frustration be something that you mentally tear yourself down with. Frustration is fine as long as you're using it to build yourself up. Not if you cross into that line where it's like just negative and beating yourself up. I feel like there's like two places where people get things wrong is they either they let people abuse them by allowing people to say mean things they would never allow being said to them, like they would never say to themselves or they would never say to a loved one. Like they let themselves be treated that way. And on the flip side, they talk, you talk to yourself in a way that you wouldn't talk to, your loved one. Like you wouldn't, the things you say to yourself, you wouldn't say to your wife. If you were trying to build up your wife, you wouldn't say the same things. If you're trying to build up your kids, you wouldn't say the same things. You would never speak to them that way. And there's an argument then that you shouldn't speak to yourself that way. And it doesn't mean that you have to make every conversation you have with yourself flowers and rainbows. But and if you're doing something wrong, like you should be very honest with yourself about it. But you shouldn't be abusive to yourself. That's not the key to healthy success. I feel like we define success like there's I think success has to be defined as healthy success versus unhealthy success, because you motivate yourself to reach the level of success, but you can do it through unhealthy means. And so while you're enjoying that success, you didn't do it great. You did a very unhealthy way versus pursuing success with a good mental state of mind, not destroying your body, not destroying yourself physically, mentally, or spiritually, or emotionally, and then reaching that pinnacle of success. You're in a much better state than saying mean things to yourself, like, oh, you're such a piece of crap, man, like, come on, like, you worthless piece of crap, let's go. Like, motivating yourself that way, you may reach the top, but man, when you reach the top, you got a lot of negative conversations to kind of address. Versus you give yourself positive, positive affirmation, but also like just like, hey man, like you're not doing what you set out to do. Like try harder. Like you can do this and don't give up. Like keep pushing and being positive about it versus like, oh you suck, you're lame, like do you want to be fat forever? Like that doesn't help you. And it doesn't teach you how to help other people. Because if I don't learn how to make myself grow in a positive way, how am I going to do that for my kids? Because I'm not going to talk to my kids that way. I'm not going to be telling my kids like, "Oh, you fat piece of crap! Like, let's go! Like, come on! Like, you lazy bones!" Like, I'm going to talk to my kids. So if I'm only teaching myself how to reach success by speaking badly to myself, that's not going to help me with those around me. That's my opinion. I do think that, you know, finding the positive things about yourself and about what you're doing and using those to dispel the darker sides of what you're doing is the answer. You know, there is not a single case where darkness beats light, where negativity can defeat positivity. And I'm not, I guess I'm not talking about like, oh, you gotta, you know, blow sunshine and unicorns and rainbows out your backside and just be happy go lucky all the time. That's not the kind of positivity I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ability to, you know, see the good in a bad situation and to, you know, cling to that while acknowledging that you're in a bad spot, but using the good that's in you and the good that's around you to get out of that spot versus just using the bad to motivate you. You know, if your goal is to reach some sort of positive spot and you're just filling yourself up with negative to get there, you might hit that point, but you're going to be in such a negative state when you do. It's not really going to be worth being there. All right, that's it. Hope you're have a good day. Hope you find some positive things to cling on to, and God bless you guys.